I'm Cameron Ward-Hunt, Director at Guidehouse and Chair of INSA's Intelligence Champions Council. Guidehouse helps our intelligence community solve its most important challenges, build trust in society, and shape the future. We're pleased to sponsor the recording of INSA's Achievement Awards ceremony. The 6 early and mid-career professionals honored here tonight are outstanding ambassadors for our national security community. After watching, I'm sure you'll agree. Enjoy.
Good evening, and welcome to the 2020 INSA Achievement Awards. I'm Suzanne Wilson Heckenberg, INSA's president. This is a special evening for a variety of reasons. First, we honor the legacy of former Baker recipients. These individuals are some of our community's most accomplished professionals and have made extraordinary contributions throughout their careers and continue to do so. And at the same time, we are spotlighting this evening the emerging leaders who are following in their footsteps. Tonight is also special because this is the Achievement Awards' 10th anniversary. I think most of you all know in your careers how to keep a secret. So I have a secret to share with you all. We're not in a skiff this evening, as you all know, but this is one of my favorite INSA events, and I'm glad you all could be here to share the evening with us. And lastly, it's a special evening because former President Ellen McCarthy and current Assistant Secretary of State for Intelligence and Research is here with us to be our keynote. Ellen is the reason we have the Achievement Awards. It was under Ellen's leadership back in 2010 that we kicked off this tradition. Based on the record number of submissions this year, as well as the diversity of agencies and organizations that participated, it's very evident that these awards provide a vital means to recognize the innovative work happening in the intelligence and national security communities. I want to thank all of you all for being here tonight as we celebrate these outstanding award recipients. I am sure you will be impressed by all of their stories. Before we get started, I wanted to acknowledge INSA's Intelligence Champions Council. Throughout the year, the council does terrific work, hosting a variety of events. And they do a lot of behind-the-scenes work for events like this evening. I want to thank our council chair, Cameron Ward-Hunt, who's here with us this evening. Thank you, Cameron. As well as our vice chair, Jen Sabata, for their support to INSA and their service to this event. It's now my pleasure to invite Chairman Tish Long to the stage, who will kick off tonight's program.
Thanks very much, Suzanne, and good evening and welcome to everyone. We are so delighted that all of you are here this evening, and it is indeed a celebratory evening. Events like this, I think, reaffirm the vitality of our community. Tonight, we recognize 6 individuals from academia, industry, government, the military, and the Homeland Security community who have made outstanding early and mid-career contributions to U.S. intelligence and national security. They exemplify leadership, professionalism, and commitment to excellence. Now, looking around this room, I think we should all feel optimistic about the IC's workforce and its future. Our honorees, actually probably everyone in this room, but particularly our honorees work long hours and at times far from home. And this commitment to service demands a lot from their families as well. I would therefore like to offer a very special welcome to all of the family members who are here with us this evening, as well as their friends. We appreciate everything that you do to support your loved ones. And I would ask a round of applause for our families and friends. I would also like to welcome our keynote speaker, the Honorable Ellen McCarthy. Thank you, Ellen, for your continued support of INSA. As Suzanne said, Ellen started this event 10 years ago. Hard to believe. So it really is fitting that Ellen is our keynote speaker this evening, and we look forward to your remarks. As Suzanne also mentioned, each of the Achievement Awards is named after a recipient of the William Oliver Baker Award, which recognizes lifetime achievement in intelligence. And we are very honored to have 2 of the award namesakes Bill Studeman, Admiral Studeman, and Miss Joan, the Honorable Joan Dempsey. Both are here with us this evening and will present the awards that are bestowed in their names. Thanks to both of you for being here. And I will say, this is not the first time that Admiral Studeman and Ms. Dempsey have been here. They are regulars, and we welcome you back every year. We also have with us Daniel Drell, who will present the academic award named for his father, Dr. Sidney Drell. It's so good to see you again. Thank you for being here. And we also have former INSA President Chuck Alsop. And Chuck is here to present the, well, he's here because Chuck can't stay away from INSA, but he's also here to present the Homeland Security Award on behalf of his good friend and mentor, Senator John Warner. And of course, Senator Warner has been here on numerous occasions as well. And Chuck, if you would please give Senator Warner our regards. We are missing him here this evening. Lastly, a big welcome to Ms. Stacy Dixon, Deputy Director of NGA. We appreciate, Stacy, you being here. And I know we also have the Honorable Isabel Petalunas. Isabel, thank you for being here this evening. So it's always a risk to call out seniors. So welcome again, everyone. Thank you all for being here. So we can't do this without our sponsors. They are the ones that really make this first-class evening possible. I'd like to recognize AT&T, Cipher Lock, General Dynamics Information Technology, Guidehouse, Penn State Applied Research Lab, Perspecta, and Raytheon. Please join me in thanking all of our sponsors for their support. I would now like to welcome Peter Decker, Senior Engineer, Geospatial Business at Raytheon, to introduce our keynote speaker. Peter.
Thank you, Tish. Good evening, everyone. Raytheon has been a proud sponsor of the INSA INSA and its mission for many years. The uniformed and civilian personnel of the intelligence community are the true unsung heroes in all of this, though. They're often working in anonymity. They defend the nation around the clock in a contested environment like never before. It's a tremendous privilege to be associated with so many talented and dedicated professionals. We gather tonight to celebrate outstanding early and mid-career professionals in the intelligence, national security, and homeland security communities, as well as the senior leaders that inspire their success. Among those who inspire the success of the future leaders in this community is our featured guest this evening, who I have the honor of introducing. She is the beloved former INSA president, as you've already heard, who recently returned to public service. In January of 2019, Ms. McCarthy was sworn in as Assistant Secretary of State for the Bureau of Intelligence and Research. Ms. McCarthy returned to the government service after 3 years in the private sector, where she served as president of Nobles NSP, leading its mission to serve clients in the intelligence community. With over 25 years of serving in the IC, Ms. McCarthy has been described as a fearless and independent leader who brings a right mix of experience, deep knowledge about the threats we face, and a willingness to be candid and direct when needed. At a time when the intelligence community has come under unprecedented security, these attributes prove invaluable each day as she works in the with the Secretary of State and the Director of National Security. For 40 years, INSA has played an indispensable role in bringing together leaders in the private sector and public sector to support the vital work of the intelligence and national security communities. Tonight, as we honor the next generation of leaders, we look forward to hearing Ms. McCarthy's perspectives on the intelligence and national security community, its people, and its future. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming the Honorable Ellen McCarthy.
Do you mind if I take my shoes off? No, I'm not going to do that. So good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Tom, for that very kind introduction. I am absolutely delighted to be here tonight. I'm actually over the moon. And that's not just because I love a good party, and everybody knows I love a good party, but we also know that INSA throws a pretty incredible event, and they're renowned for their events. But I'm so happy to be here tonight because it's a celebration of the people of the intelligence community, my people, the quiet heroes. That's why I'm over the moon. So why do I love the people of the IC? It's because all of us sitting here and those who can't be here tonight share a common set of values, goals, and sense of mission no matter where we sit. Whether we sit in a government facility wearing a blue badge, or we sit in a private sector facility, or at home if you're lucky enough to have a flex schedule. If you're in a lab or you're a college student, our focus, no matter where we sit, and I know that because I've sat in all those places, is to keep America safe. That's our single value. You know, I get asked every day, it's often in very hushed tones. In fact, it happened here tonight. Ellen, how are you doing? How are you doing? As if I'm going to say, I'm horrible. And the reality is that I'm not horrible at all. I'm doing really well. I'm really, really well. And who wouldn't be doing really well if given the opportunity to lead one of the 16 intelligence agencies in the United States intelligence community? I mean, seriously, who would not love that? Who would not feel blessed to be able to work every day like the people we're recognizing here tonight and all of you who are sitting in the audience? So I want to thank INSA for providing this opportunity to turn off the news, get off of our cell phones. I can watch all of you. Eileen, make sure your dad stays off that phone. And celebrate the most amazing people I know. The people who are at their very core is what makes our intelligence and national security communities the best in the world. So a great person from our history, Wild Bill Donovan, whose OSS offices were literally on Navy Hill right next door. I will tell you, it's still there. The plaque is still there. You know, you walk by it and you sort of still feel the spirit of Wild Bill Donovan. He once said, "The major part of our success was the result of good old-fashioned intellectual sweat." I'm pretty sure that Wild Bill Donovan would be very proud of the intellectual sweat represented in this room tonight, especially of our award winners. But this is where I'm going to stop and go off script. Why? Because I can. I own this microphone. And just for a minute, don't you feel the power? And I'm going to make a shameless plug for my organization of the Intelligence and Research Bureau at the State Department, who are celebrating a milestone year. You see, there's a reason that I quoted Wild Bill Donovan, and that's because everybody credits CIA as being the organization that spun off of the OSS first, and they are all wrong. Wikipedia is wrong, CIA's website's wrong for all you CIA people. I'm going to fix that. The research and analysis branch of the OSS moved to the State Department the day the OSS disbanded in 1945. 900 analysts, geologists, artists, librarians moved to State Department. State Department didn't want them because they were a group of people that said things that they didn't want to hear. But guess what? Here we are 75 years later, and INR is the first all-source intelligence organization in this incredible community, and we'll be celebrating our 75th year this year. So stay tuned for another So we're going to be celebrating this rich history, and stay tuned for some things that we've got planned. Now I'll get off that subject, and I'll get back to our regularly scheduled program. So, my sincerest congratulations to each of tonight's winners. Your outstanding accomplishments speak for themselves. Your dedication, professionalism, and expertise are exactly the essence of what these awards represent. And I also want to give a special thank you to those of you who nominated tonight's winners. Acknowledging your workforce and recognizing exceptional work is critical to developing employees and encouraging the best and the brightest within our community. So congratulations to you for recognizing the accomplishments of this year's winners. I celebrate you as well. And there's something else to celebrate. Are you sensing a theme here? In addition to our great award winners tonight, we also celebrate the 10th anniversary of this event, the INSA Achievement Awards. So first of all, I can't believe it was 10 years ago. I'm in denial on that number. But if someone had told me 10 years ago when I was sitting in Suzanne's position as president that I would be speaking at this event tonight, I would have said you were crazy. And that's mostly because I thought that I was never going to leave INSA. I really loved working with these folks. And it's because of what INSA is and what it does. It's a group that strives to, quote, enhance the relationships and understanding amongst those in government, industry, and academia who are involved in and concerned with the well-being and success of the national intelligence endeavor, end quote. So here's a footnote. For those of you who know INR, you'll get the footnote. This quote comes from a memo dated in 1988 that SASA distributed to its invitees for its spring symposium back in 1988. But what I would say is that the INSA of today doesn't just promote intelligence success, it succeeds. So that is why I'm so proud to be affiliated with INSA. The origins of the Achievement Awards go back to a discussion the staff and I and then Executive Council were having about the Dr. William Oliver Baker Award. Since 1984, INSA and its predecessor organization, SASA, has recognized extraordinary individuals for their sustained contribution to excellence in intelligence and national security affairs. People like, I'm just going to name a few, Senator Barry Goldwater, Admiral Bobby Inman, Dr. James Schlesinger, Miss Anna Cara Christie, the Honorable James Clapper, the Honorable Dutch Ruppersberger, and the Honorable Michael Rogers, the Honorable Robert S. Mueller, and this year, the Honorable Sue Gordon. Now, at the time, we all understood that recognizing the achievements of people like this was just critically important. However, it was also the consensus of the group that recognizing the talented people of the community who are at the midpoint in their careers would perhaps be even more worthy ambition. And so we started the INSA Achievement Awards in 2010 to recognize the accomplishments of early to mid-career professionals. We nicknamed the award, and I don't think you all want to hear me say this, but we called it the Baby Baker. Why? I'm sorry, I'm not being dismissive. But because we realized that these were the folks that someday would be Baker Award winners. They were going to grow into, they were going to continue to excel. And at some point, I know that we're going to get one and more Baker Award winners. The 6 awards are named after William Baker Award recipients who are recognized in areas of excellence in leadership, potential for growth, impact on profession, mission accomplishment, and emerging professional standing and influence. The awards also acknowledge the importance of mentors and inspire early careers to strive for excellence in intelligence, homeland security, and the national security community. I'm so proud that the community has continued to support and sustain these awards over the last 10 years. So many extraordinary people have played a role in nurturing this award. I'm going to call out a few. I don't know if Eris Pappas is here, but Eris Pappas was the one who actually laid out the award and defined it, set the framework, laid out the criteria. Suzanne Wilson Heckberg and Jeff Levine, who figured out a way to pay for the award. And believe me, in those days, we needed to figure out ways to pay for this event. To Chuck Alsep, who I'm pretty sure has led almost every, or has been involved in every selection committee, and I know read every package over at least the last 10 years. And there have been a lot of submissions. This is a very competitive award. This is very competitive. So to you award winners, you really are good. I know there's many others that I've not recognized that helped us get here today, but I want to thank you all for the role you played in this incredible award, because like Suzanne, I really think it is one of the more special things that we do as an IC. So I want to say congratulations to INSA and for doing this. So I'm going to get there. I'm going to recognize our award professionals, but I really want to take this time to reflect on what happened in 2010. And there was 2 award recipients that I want to call out because they spoke to me, and I carry them with me every day. In 2010, at our first awards ceremony, Congressman Peter King presented the first John W. Warner Homeland Security Award to Sergeant Gus Rodriguez. At the time, Sergeant, and for those of you who are there, you'll remember this event, Sergeant Rodriguez at the time was a member of the NYPD. He was completing a master's degree at the Naval Postgraduate School for Homeland Defense and Security. He was honored for his police work in human intelligence and his scholarly research. But I'll tell you what I remembered was his whole family was here. It included his daughter and his wife and his brothers, who were also New York City police officers. He was so incredibly proud, and he was relaying his story of how he got there and what motivated him every day. There honestly was not a dry eye in the audience as he talked about his now late mom and dad, which I was sorry to get that news, who came to this country from Spain and the Dominican Republic with the dream to start a great life, and boy, what a great life they did. His thesis at the time was called Creating Domestopol, increasing national resilience by reflecting on the NYPD counterterrorism model. This was centered on better communication and intelligence dissemination among police agencies across the nation, especially across 50 of the largest urban areas. Since then, Gus Rodriguez, the 22-year NYPD veteran, has had an incredible career. After receiving the award in 2010, he served in the NYPD's International Liaison Program as a department representative with the Singapore Police Force. In 2013, upon returning from Singapore, he completed a fellowship at FBI's National Cyber Investigative Joint Task Force here in DC. Today, he's a lieutenant commander in the New York City Police Department's Intelligence Bureau and is currently assigned to the FBI New York Cyber Task Force as the NYPD lead on cyber terrorism. Via initiatives like the NYC Cyber Critical Service and Infrastructure Working Group, Gus has been a leading advocate in New York for real-time cyber threat information sharing among New York City government and the private sector to protect New York City's critical infrastructure. He's traveling to the 2020 RSA Cyber Conference in San Francisco. I have a feeling a few of you will be there as well, so when you're there, please pay him a visit and say hello, tell him I talked about him, and just congratulate him for what an incredible career he's had, and he's still going. And then there's one other person I want to call out, and he actually is here tonight. So Senator Warner presented Mr. Michael A. Brown with the John Warner Homeland Security Award. And at the time, Michael was a supervisory desk officer at the Office of Global Strategies for TSA, the Transportation Security Administration. After Naval Postgraduate School, he was honored for his dedication to the INSA Homeland Security Intelligence Council, his expertise and competence in strategic planning, communications, and risk management in the Homeland Security sector, and his leadership and commitment were one of the reasons that he received this award. Some of you remember that Michael was so excited, and I'm sorry to embarrass you, Michael, that he dropped the award. Those things are actually it didn't break. I mean, that was pretty amazing. But the good news is, I actually think this was a sign of what things were to come, because Michael was going to break a lot of barriers and do a lot of incredible things as he moved ahead. I mean, within a year of winning, Michael was selected to go overseas. Again, he went to the U.S. Embassy in Singapore with DHS and TSA, a position that broadened its exposure to the workings of the interagency through collaboration with the Department of State, Justice, Commerce, and others, as well as our foreign partners. He came back to lead the development of the OD&I coordinated TSA-hosted program designed to improve information sharing between aviation domain stakeholders in government and industry. Michael then had the wonderful opportunity to join the RAND Corporation as the DHS Visiting Research Fellow, and at RAND he pivoted his professional focus towards examining the pathway of radicalization to violence and efforts to counter violent extremism. Today, Michael serves as the Associate Director of the Office of Targeted Violence and Terrorism Prevention in the DHS Office of Policy here in DC. And he'll tell you that it was the INSA award that opened up doors for him by giving him a broader network, widening his understanding of the whole of society required to tackle public policy and civil engagement, providing a greater appreciation of the role of mentorship. And he called out a dear friend, Kathleen Kiernan. I'm not sure she's here today, but she's been a mentor to many of us, as well as amplifying the work of aspiring professionals. The award ultimately serves as a springboard for him to chart his own course, follow his personal passion for presenting terrorism. Michael's work today at DHS is focused on bringing together non-traditional partners like threat assessment professionals, social workers, educators, and NGO to prevent violence and terrorism. This is noble work indeed. So Michael, are you here? Where are you? Thank you, Michael, for everything you're doing, and congratulations. So Michael and Gus, I mean, they really do amplify what this award is all about. And maybe one day, one of them will win the William Oliver Baker Award, and I hope I'm here to see it. So, when I reflect back on my career, the one thing that always stands out is people, no matter what the agency or government, public or private sector. I mean, think about how many times at retirement ceremonies you hear the words, "What I'll remember most and miss the most is the people." In recent years, our community and many of you focus on tools and technology such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, and no question that these are vitally important parts of the tool chest that the intelligence community needs to do its job. But I want to remind everyone, at the center of every one of these efforts, it really is all about the people. So Lee Iacocca once said, "Start with good people, lay out the rules, communicate with your employees, motivate them and reward them, and if you do all these things effectively, you really can't miss." I think he was absolutely right. We can't miss. We have to maintain that focus on our greatest asset, and that really is our people. So I said tonight, it's a celebration of people. So as the leaders, supervisors, teachers, trainers, mentors, and peers of these great people, it's our responsibility to ensure that we celebrate them, that we do good by them. Often we celebrate significant events in our lives. We have showers, baby showers, bridal showers. You get the idea. But I think we need to celebrate our workforce by showering them with many things. Like, just to name a few: opportunities, challenges, respect, inclusion, training, communication, motivation, guidance. And we should shower them with our attention by listening, leading, following, and recognizing achievements. If we do all that successfully, the future of this IC and the national security community will be in good hands. We often hear senior leaders say that never before have we faced such complex problems, and believe me, I know all of us see them today. Extreme threats, sophisticated technologies. Nothing is black and white. Everything is gray. You can't just focus on Guatemala. You've got to focus on Guatemala and China. You have to focus on Guatemala and China and AI. It's not like it was when I started. But I do know that this next generation of senior leaders will see it too. I'm pretty sure that all of you Achievement Award winners will be standing up here saying the exact same thing in just a few years. But I will tell you this, as I look out tonight at all of you, and I look out at the outstanding achievements of tonight's winners: Anita Brown, Tech Sergeant William Haskell, Megan Jaffer, Franklin Mosca, Lieutenant Colonel David Oakley, Abe Usher, and the other 54 previous winners, such as Gus Rodriguez and Michael Brown, I am confident that we will continue to have success as we take on these world challenges, especially with these incredible people running the ship. I mean, how can we go wrong? So on behalf of the Department of State and the intelligence community and a grateful nation, I would like to thank all of you for what you do to keep us safe. I really believe that America is in very good hands. I look forward to celebrating, God willing, and good medicine with being back in a few years when one of you wins the Baker's Award. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking your time tonight and your busy lives to celebrate these outstanding people. Please share their stories with your workforce. Spread the news of the importance of recognizing achievement. Take the time to celebrate your people. And I want to congratulate INSA, and I want to congratulate tonight's winners, and I want to say, from a very heartfelt place, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be with you all tonight. Thank you.
So I first off want to thank Ellen for having the vision to start the Achievement Awards 10 years ago, and for joining us this evening with her keynote remarks, and also congratulate her on her leadership of INR and your upcoming 75th anniversary, which I believe is in October. Yes. They are fortunate to have you at the helm. And then I'd also like to present Ellen with the INSA Challenge coin this evening. So, ready, Herman? So it's now my pleasure to welcome to the stage Cameron Ward Hunt with Guidehouse, who is also INSA's ICC chair, and he is going to be presenting the first award of the evening. So Cameron, without further ado.
All right, thank you, Suzanne, and thank you all for being here and supporting our next generation of intelligence community leaders. As Suzanne said, I am chair of the Intelligence Champions Council, as you can see by our banner here. After this evening, if you're interested in joining our work and getting involved to build a diverse and talented mission-focused workforce, please come see me at the dessert reception. I'll be by the chocolate. There will be chocolate, right? Okay, all right. It is now my pleasure to present this year's Edwin Land Industry Award to Abe Usher. As Chief Technology for Black Cape, Mr. Usher pioneered leading-edge advancements in data science, machine learning, and geospatial analysis at DIA, NGA, and other intelligence community agencies. Just a few of Abe's accomplishments. He assembled an agile team of software engineers at DIA dubbed the Nerd Brigade, who rapidly developed and deployed analytical tools that saved the agency thousands of man-hours, reduced human error, and improved data fidelity. He led the creation of an easy-button web app that increased throughput of finished intelligence updates by 300%, and he extended this approach to NGA, where his rapid feedback teams informed NGA's workforce development strategy and led to the stand-up of NGA's data core. And the list goes on. It's my privilege to present the 2020 Edwin H. Land Industry Award to Abe Usher. Unfortunately, Abe couldn't be with us tonight due to mission essential travel. Accepting the award on his behalf is Mike Santamaria, Director of Engineering at Black Cape.
Hello, everyone. I am not Abe Usher. Sorry to disappoint you. I know a lot of you are coming specifically to see Abe, so sorry to disappoint. As was mentioned, he is in Hawaii for mission essential work, so he is smart enough to tell you how smart he is. He's smart enough to get out of DC during the winter to go to Hawaii for a month. So Abe is someone that I've worked with since 2011 when he co-founded Human Geo, where I joined up with him and his team. And then I currently work with Abe at Black Cape, another company that he co-founded. He is one of the most unique and talented individuals that I've ever worked with, and his unique experience and resume kind of point to that. He's a West Point grad where he studied Arabic and engineering. He went on to be an Army Ranger. He went on to be an Air Force reservist, and then on to Google, where he's the first Army Ranger qualified engineer at Google. At Google, he met co-founder of Human Geo and Black Cape, Al DeLeonardo, and Al had a very compelling offer that Al was making to Googlers to try to get talented engineers to come back to the government. So Al said, I'll make you work twice as hard, I'll give you half as much money, but you'll get to work on critical projects for the US government. And nobody got up out of their seats except Abe ran out the door and said, are you serious? I get a chance to do that again? So that shows you a little bit about the type of person that Abe Usher is. So after all that, he co-founded Human Geo, where we did software engineering and big data analysis, and also, as was mentioned in the remarks, came up with programs such as DIA's NER Brigade and NGA's Rapid Feedback Team. After Human Geo, Abe co-founded Black Cape in January of last year, where we're taking machine learning, and he's pioneering the use of artificial intelligence and taking that to government problems to usher in, had to do it, a new era in technology innovation. If you ever get a chance to see Abe speak, he'll say that he's got three passions in life: people, data, and beverages. The people part is clear. He's a great mentor to all engineers that he works with, and he also lets customers know about all the great things that technology can do for them. When it comes to data, there's no one more passionate about data and what it can do, so much so that he has a server farm running in his basement collecting data, and I can tell that he's working in there in a mad scientist lab, and I can see by his Git commit history that he's there doing that all hours of the night. And beverages, he loves coffee, so don't get in the way of him with his coffee. So thank you very much to INSA. Thank you to the organizers and the sponsors. Congrats to the other winners. And thanks on behalf of Abe.
So, got to move that down. Mike, thank you on behalf of Abe for accepting Abe's award. And those were great remarks. So, good stand-in. You pass. Good job. Now, it is my pleasure to welcome to the stage my good friend, says the indomitable, I'll just say the amazing Joan Dempsey, who will present the Mentorship Award.
I've been called worse by people in this room. You know, as Tish said, I try to come every year to this event because it honestly feels like I'm getting an award. And in fact, every year, at least one of my friends will send me a note a couple of weeks before this event and say, hey, we saw that INSA's giving you a mentorship award. That's really great. They have clearances, people. You should be very concerned about that. But it is wonderful to get to stand up here every year and recognize just extraordinary mentors. We have all benefited from great mentorship in our careers. I know I have. None of us got where we got alone, unless we didn't get very far, and then we probably did get there alone. But we all rely on great mentors, and so it's a tremendous pleasure for me to be able to recognize the individuals year after year for now 10 years who have received this award. But tonight's even more special because I actually know this recipient. I have been able to see Megan Jaffer in action, and she is amazing. In fact, she's one of the founders of the Amazing Women of the IC. That organization, I can remember when I was very junior in my career, people would always tell me, you need to network, you need to network. Well, in those days, the only network that existed was a broadcast network. I didn't know what a network was. I didn't know how to create a network. I didn't know how to get ahead using a network. Well, Megan is the embodiment of creating and using networks and bringing people into those networks and helping them establish and grow their careers. She is an entrepreneur. She's passionate about the business. She is a tremendous friend. She's a great leader. She is indomitable and really the most deserving person that I could ever imagine to receive this award tonight. She is an amazing woman of the IC. So Megan, if you would join me on stage.
Okay, I have to take a breath. It's going to be okay, right? Before I start, I did want to take a moment to thank Suzanne and INSA for this beautiful celebration. I'm not sure if all of you who attend these INSA events know the hard work that goes into planning and executing these events. And so for that and for making this a special experience, thank you, thank INSA, and thank the team. So, wow, I am deeply honored and grateful to have been chosen as the recipient of the Joan Dempsey Award for Mentorship this year. Joan, thank you for being here tonight, for being a leader and inspiring us all. You remind us to remember where we started and that we would not be here without the help of others. I will continue to strive to live up to your example. To be honest, I'm still in a little bit of a shock by receiving this tremendous award and by all of the lovely notes that I've received over the past month and by all of you here tonight supporting me and my fellow awardees. As many of you know, I have attended every one of the Achievement Awards except the first one. Each one, I sat in the audience, usually up there, and I was amazed and in awe by all the recipients and their amazing achievements. It is a dream to be standing up here in front of you receiving this award, and I'm humbled to be placed among the ranks of the past awardees. I was quite nervous and still am the past few weeks thinking about what I would say. I didn't want to forget those who are important to me, and I wanted to make sure I honored them properly. A good friend of mine reminded me there was nothing to be nervous about because I was going to be amongst family. The family I grew up with in Chicago, and the family you all have become over the past years. 5 years ago, because of my involvement with INSA, I was lucky enough to be invited to a gathering of 20 junior women and 20 senior women in Ellen McCarthy's house. We sat in her living room and talked about different organizations we were all a part of. Some of us were a part of women's organizations or professional development organizations or some industry organizations. And we asked ourselves, what can we do that is a little bit different? What are we missing? And I like to tell the story about my husband, who's been in the industry for over 20 years. And he has never once had to apply to a job. He has always been brought along. He's been brought along by mentors, by old bosses, and by friends. And we realized, the 40 of us in Ellen's living room, that we were not doing this for each other as women in the IC and the defense community. And so we created the Amazing Women of the IC, better known as AWIC, the mission of which is to develop the professional women serving in the U.S. National Security Mission. We bring together amazing women throughout our community to support, empower, and inspire one another at all stages of our careers. We started at 40 women, and now we are over 900. We have created a community of women helping one another, supporting one another, and creating opportunities for each other. The power of mentoring and sponsorship is at the foundation of what AWIC is. What is amazing about tonight, and in this room in particular, is that it is filled with mentors, with sponsors, and coaches that have helped build this fabulous community. Tonight, I would like to take a few moments to mention my mentors and sponsors because I want them to know how important they are to me. And I will try not to cry. Ellen, I should not have started with you. I recently met with a firm, and they asked me what it would take to work with one of their companies. Knowing that I had worked with you, he said, "The only way you would come work for us is if you worked with someone like Ellen or better, correct?" My response was immediate. That is impossible, because there's no one better than Ellen. I want you to know that you changed my life, and I wouldn't be up here if it wasn't for your mentorship, your sponsorship, and your friendship. You taught me what it means to lead with grace. Thank you for knowing my worth before I did, reminding me of it every day. Most of all, thank you for your love and guidance, and I am forever grateful. Tish, you have been my champion, my mentor, and my friend. Thank you for always taking my calls, answering my texts and emails, and for being my sounding board. You have opened the doors not only for me, but for countless others. You are the gold standard, and I'm lucky to have you in my life. Karen, thank you for trusting me with your visions, for believing I can do anything, and for your friendship. But most of all, thank you for AWIC. Katie Naquin, I want you to raise your hand, and I want everyone to see this fabulous person right here. For those of you here tonight who don't know who Katie is, I strongly suggest you seek her out after this ceremony. She is the future of the IC, and I will put money down that she will be a director of an agency. Thank you, Katie, for being my partner in crime this past year. You are amazing in every way, and this award is because of you. Chuck, I am overjoyed that you are here tonight. This started with you, allowing some young whippersnapper like me to help out with INSA events, welcoming not just me, but anyone who truly loved the act of service and treating us all like family. I am grateful for every call, email, and meeting you had on my behalf. Thank you for it all. And finally, I would like to thank the most important people in my life, my family. Mom and Dad, thank you for teaching me what it means to give, what it means to love, and what it means to serve. To Jamil and Nico, I love you more than life. Thank you for allowing me to live my dreams. For my mother-in-law and my uncle in the audience, thanks for your unconditional support. I think we can all agree that to be in a position to help others and achieve their dreams is the greatest gift. If you could all take a look underneath your seat, you will find a note card and a pen. I would like you to take a moment and think about someone who has mentored you. Now, I would like you to think of someone that has either asked you to mentor them or someone you think is in need of mentorship. I would like you to put that person's name on your note card. This year, I want you all to do what you have done for me. Create opportunities for that person on the card. Be a sponsor for that person. And next year, I want you to bring them to this event, and I want to hear their stories. This award has humbled me from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all very much.
Okay, I gotta keep putting this microphone down. Okay, there aren't a whole lot of dry eyes in the house, Megan. Congratulations and lovely words. Just trying to get my place back here. Okay, no, that's not me. Bear with me. Congratulations, Megan. Let's see. 1, 2, that's it. We're halfway there. It's an amazing evening already. I am now pleased to welcome to the stage Dan Drell to present the academic award on behalf of his father.
Thank you very much, Tish. I want to note that were he alive today, my father, Sidney Drell, would almost certainly be here participating in this event. I was pleased to be with him at the first one. Thank you, Secretary McCarthy, for reminding me it was 10 years ago. You in this room and your colleagues elsewhere are engaged in the kind of work he regarded as critically important for our national security, and as a scientist, he was always committed to accuracy, objectivity, and fact-based analyses as the strongest way to assist policymakers, regardless of politics. He would be proud, as I am honored now, to present the academic award in his name to Lieutenant Colonel David Oakley. David's an assistant professor at the College of International Security Affairs, where he helps deliver the Combating Terrorism and Irregular Warfare Fellowship Program. In this capacity, he has instructed more than 300 senior military and civilian security professionals from over 30 countries. He's also served on numerous mobile education teams that have educated hundreds of professionals from partner nations. Professor Oakley's, sounds great, doesn't it? Extensive scholarship includes an award-winning paper and critically acclaimed publications. His new book, Subordinating Intelligence, the DoD and CIA Post-Cold War Relationship, has been nominated for the William E. Colby Military Writers Award. Doing well on Amazon, too, I think. For his exemplary teaching and extensive contributions to intelligence scholarship, I'm personally proud, as well as on behalf of my father, to present the 2020 Sidney D. Drell Academic Award to Lieutenant Colonel David Oakley.
Thank you, Daniel. It means a lot to receive an award from an award named after your father. Someone who was the epitome of practitioner scholar that always strived for objectivity and took pride in service. It is a little humbling also to when I learned that he got his PhD at 23 and I got mine at 40. But yeah, we all have limits, right? I'd also like to thank the INSA leadership, and Ellen McCarthy, Trish Long, Suzanne Wilson, for this great honor. I was really shocked. I had to have my wife read the email I got. I thought that someone was playing a trick, but it's really a great honor to be here. I'd also like to thank my college, the College of International Security Affairs and National Defense University, and its leadership, and Ambassador Barks Ruggles, and I think Ari Burnett might be here tonight. And then specifically Dr. David Uka, who is my supervisor and good friend who nominated me for this award. I'd also like to thank the numerous mentors in both the Department of Defense, the Army, and then also the intelligence community from my time in the CIA. Individuals like Doug Wise, Paul Pope, Tino Perez, individuals who took the time out to, mentor someone that they didn't really get a benefit from, but saw something in me and was willing to help me out. It means a great deal. And this award means a lot because when I started, researching this war in 2015. The Army had moved me to Washington, D.C. I was hanging out in my basement in Ashburn in my pajamas and researching. And I'd been out of the intelligence community for a few years. And so I needed to kind of regreen myself. And so the first place I went was actually to an INSA conference. And I sat in the audience with my little notebook and was taking notes to kind of, start to think about intelligence. And as I think back on that, another thing that's remarkable about that is shortly thereafter, that conference, two of the individuals who took the time to mentor me and to speak to me about my research, there's actually awards named after. And so, Admiral Studeman, I don't know if you remember, but you bought me a great meal at your house and spent the whole day with me, and that meant a lot. And I hope you didn't, burn the book after reading it. And I will never forget the crab cakes. And then Admiral Bobby Ray Inman was another gentleman who took the time out of his day and brought me up to his office in Austin when I was in San Antonio to sit down and speak to me. And so this is an amazing organization. I thank all of you guys, because when you take it the time to mentor like Megan spoke about, and to take time out of your day, and there's no real personal gain you get from it, at least immediately, it really means a lot. And I think it makes a huge difference, so I thank you. I also like to thank my wife, Kristen, and my kids, Taylor, Tanner, Tatum, and Tyler. I should not name my kids all T's, because now I know why my mom called me by the dog's name. And then also my parents, Don and Pat, out of Kansas. Right now I'm actually transitioning. I'm getting ready to start to transition out of the military, and hopefully from a practitioner to a pure scholar. And so my wife has been with me for over 20 years now, going from place to place, through deployments, through TDYs, through assignments where she couldn't go with me, and she's never complained, and she's always been there. And so, Kristen, I love you, and thank you for your support. And finally, I'd like to congratulate the other recipients. It's very humbling. I'm going to sit there and hear and read about your background, and I feel privileged to be part of such an august group. So congratulations, and thank you.
So, Professor Oakley, David, congratulations. And I just have to say, PhD at 40, while in the military, while deploying, while TDY, you're not a slacker. I'm only a couple of years older, and I don't have my PhD yet, so you're doing just fine. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the stage former INSA President Chuck Alsup, who will present the Homeland Security Award on behalf of Senator John Warner.
I don't have to pull it down too far. Okay. So, always a pleasure to be back at INSA. Thank you, Tish and Suzanne, for inviting me back. And so after some of those presentations, I just wanted to say to the recipients, no pressure to do good, okay? From here on, okay? No pressure. So, Senator Warner has been a longtime mentor and friend to me before, during, and after my tenure on the Senate Armed Services Committee. Before, I would guess that was one of the second or third retirements for that, right? But he was the chairman of the committee when I was there, and for me it's a real honor to be here in his stead. You will be happy to know that Senator Warner celebrated his 93rd birthday 2 days ago. Okay. And he is quite well and active. I spoke with him earlier this week, and he asked me to extend his gratitude to all of the honorees tonight for their hard work and their commitment to public service. He couldn't be with us here tonight, but he's here with us in spirit. I had the opportunity to tell him about the amazing work that Frank Mosca is doing for the FBI, and he was humbled to know that the award that bears his name was going to such a dedicated and inspirational public servant. And so, Frank, he sends us personal, heartfelt congratulations. So with that, it is my privilege to present the John Warner Homeland Security Award to Franklin Mosca, Intelligence Analyst with the FBI San Antonio Field Office. But just a little bit about Frank first, before we actually do the award, okay? Hold on, man. Okay. Frank's demonstrated leadership, collaborative spirit, and deep analytical skills have made him an invaluable member of the operational squad in which he is embedded. He is praised for his ability to collaborate with partners across FBI field offices and at federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. Frank has made a significant contribution to numerous high-priority FBI investigations. His meticulous research and analysis during a counterterrorism investigation led to the expeditious deportation of an asylum-seeking Somali national linked to a foreign terrorist organization. That's serious stuff. Okay. On another mission, he arranged for the FBI to brief key Brazilian stakeholders regarding vulnerabilities of Chinese-origin telecommunications equipment. These briefings helped Brazilian government partners better understand the national security implications of insecure critical infrastructure. His exemplary leadership and results-oriented mindset, his willingness to take on the tough assignments and produce operational results have ensured the protection of U.S. interests. So, Frank, come on up. On behalf of Senator John Warner, I am proud to present the Homeland Security Award.
So first off, I would like to say I'm very humbled and very thankful for this award this evening. I work with many other folks who work may not be externally releasable, but they have definitely disrupted adversaries to the U.S. and are equally deserving of recognition. Next, I would like to acknowledge the award's namesake, Senator John Warner. As you all know, Senator Warner was a major champion of the intelligence community in his 30 years in office, often advocating for the IC within budgetary and policy matters. He was the first individual awarded the National Intelligence Distinguished Public Service Medal and has also been commended for strengthening partnerships with major U.S. allies. I would also like to thank the INSA for arranging such events like this. It's always good to get a pat on the back for knowing you're doing stuff well when sometimes you're on the southwest border in 120-degree heat and stuff isn't quite as clear. So most of my career has been along the southwest border. I previously worked for U.S. Customs and Border Protection in Nogales, Arizona, and transitioned to my role within the FBI about 4 years ago. It's been an interesting journey. I've definitely seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and the just plain weird along the southwest border. Well, I can't share everything with you guys tonight for brevity's sake, and probably more importantly because of my agency's public affairs guidelines. I'd like to share some highlights with you. In my first hour on duty in Nogales, Arizona, we had a Thai national attempt to smuggle herself into the U.S. in a suitcase. She had previously been removed and ultimately was uncovered. She was returning to try and manage her prostitution ring up in Phoenix. The lengths that some individuals will go to get in the U.S. are pretty extreme, and their intentions are not always pure, but sometimes they are funny, like one imposter we caught who had glued his ears to the side of his head to try and look more like the individual in his stolen travel document. As for the weird, I had a Santeria curse put on me when I refused to allow an individual to import his rooster blood-covered shrine. The Department of Agriculture definitely did not want that in the country, so I had to take the fall for that one when he turned around and did some little magic on me walking back to Mexico. I've spoken to some Syrian nationals on the southwest border who took the scenic route through the Western Hemisphere to try and claim asylum in the U.S. A couple of them had spent a few months in Venezuela on the way through during a period of some heightened unrest. Surprisingly, the Syrian nationals claimed if their asylum process was denied, they wouldn't really mind going back to Syria, but they really didn't want to go back to Venezuela. So I've worked some pretty asymmetric problem sets. I'm very fortunate to have to work with some great people across multiple agencies, be it law enforcement, be it intelligence community. It's a long list. I'm not going to keep you guys here till 10 o'clock tonight reading it all off. And I know some of those folks, we got to keep the relationship a little bit out of the public eye as well. But for a good chunk of time, I was the only person in my job role between McAllen, which is down by the Gulf of Mexico, and El Paso, which is on the far end of Texas on the southwest border. So I'm very, very, very thankful that there's such strong partnerships within the intelligence community. I definitely see the INSA as an organization that is fostering and making those better to help the U.S. do its job and ensure our constitutional freedoms. So once again, I'm very truly thankful for this recognition and for the caliber of my coworkers and partners I've worked with, and I really hope this will launch me forward on my further career in federal law enforcement and the intelligence community. Thank you so much.
Frank, congratulations. Maybe that little voodoo brought you to this stage, and it was really a good luck charm for you to be nominated and selected for this recognition. But congratulations again. It is now my pleasure to welcome back to the stage former INSA. That's not the right one. To welcome back to the stage former INSA president and my dear friend, the Honorable Ellen McCarthy, to present the Richard Kerr Government Award.
I'm back. Actually, it is my incredible honor to represent Richard Kerr, who usually is here. So, I mean, I can't even begin to represent him because he is just such an incredible professional in this community. But I am awfully glad to be standing in his stead to recognize Anita Brown from State INR. She is the Counterintelligence Coordination Officer within my office. She really is a rising star in the State Department. And I'll tell you, I actually work for her. I mean, the reality is that she's just so good at what she does. Just a little story. I had to go to the Hill a few months ago on an issue that she was working. Some of you may remember it was not a great visit. And I will tell you that my first thought was, oh my God, I've let Anita down, because this was her portfolio. And she works so hard, is so good at what she does. I can't even tell you a lot of what she does. For most of you know CI is an interesting area of expertise, and she just does it very well. Her focus areas are Russia, China, North Korea, and Cuba, fun areas. And she really is walking that line between counterintelligence and foreign policy, making sure that both sides are getting, our needs are being satisfied. And that is a fine line that she's walking. And it's not only across state, but it's across the law enforcement side of the house, FBI. And she just does it very well. A story I can tell, besides the one where I went to the Hill and it wasn't so good. But in the wake of the attack on Sergei Skripal, her expertise and ability to anticipate third and fourth order effects of policy decisions helped the United States deliver an incredibly strong and consistent message to the Russian government. That was all Anita. For those of you who know Anita, she's very good at getting what she wants done. In her work with North Korea, she regularly briefs the State Department Special Representative on North Korea, who also now happens to be the Deputy Secretary of State, on complex CI issues. She is the go-to gal within the seniors of the Department of State. So it really is my pleasure tonight to present this award to her. Unfortunately, she can't be here, and she really wanted to be here tonight, but accepting on her behalf is my colleague and friend, Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, Annette Richmond. It's Redmond.
You know it's a tough night when your boss forgets your last name, right? Thank you, ma'am. So I am not Anita Brown, but I am extraordinarily proud to accept this award on behalf of state departments, but actually, I would argue, perhaps the IC's top counterintelligence expert with regard to foreign policy, Anita Brown. Unfortunately, Anita couldn't be here tonight because of family commitments, and we finally let her away from her desk long enough to actually attend a family obligation. But watch the news tomorrow morning because she might break up a spy ring in California. You never know. I came to State Department approximately 3 years ago from DOD and got to see firsthand INR's vaulted expertise and analysis. It was every bit as impressive as I had heard, and I haven't regretted it for a moment. And then about a year ago, thanks to the Honorable Mccarthy, I got to take over as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Intelligence Policy and Coordination, and I got to see the hard work, the magic, and the incredible people like Anita that are working every day on INR's interagency collaboration. While the rest of State Department often wonders what the secretive INR is up to, the rest of INR is wondering what the very secretive INR Ops is up to. Ops handles covert action programs, deals with questions regarding Chief of Mission Authority, which sounds ominous if you don't know what it is, and essentially works to ensure that our embassy's intelligence posture overseas, and perhaps some of the most secretive of all things, our sensitive counterintelligence operations run smoothly. It does feel strange to be talking about these things to all of you in such a big room, publicly. Put down those note cards, I see you. Who gave them the pen? The star of these counterintelligence efforts, though, for State Department is truly Anita Brown. For nearly 4 years, she's been connecting key officials between CIA, FBI, NCSC, DS, diplomatic security for our language, and even Congress on counterintelligence issues. Anita teaches us all how to do this better and ensure that the nation's foreign policy comes off the way we would all want it to. Before that, Anita spent a few years in a different role and would make both Suzanne and Megan quite proud. She arranged different INR events to bring key top academic experts and IC experts together on a range of topics. She's that diverse that she can plan a party as well as manage the nation's foreign policy requirements with regard to intelligence. So anytime you saw a news story the last 4 years and thought to yourself, wow, that's an interesting nexus between intelligence and foreign policy, I would bet you Anita was behind it, because I know in many cases she was. Now think about all the times you did not see a news story. Well, that was Anita too. We've faced challenges with Russia, China, North Korea, and Cuba. How ironic, these are the things she covers. In each of these instances, a senior State Department official makes decisions or appears before cameras. In every one of these instances, that official has been briefed and given talking points that were created by Anita, or was even coached in advance before they took over critical positions when they moved into those roles. I recently read a press interview that Dick Kerr, in which he emphasized the duty of intelligence professionals to speak truth to power. Anita embodies this completely as recognized in this award. She's very well known to our 7th floor, or as we lovingly call it, Mahogany Row. Granted, some senior officials cringe when they see her darken their door because they know whatever challenge she's bringing to them is complex, it's thorny, and it's probably top of the fold. But those officials are also relieved because she's there. And she has always well-prepared background, talking points, and options, even to some of the worst problems that our foreign policy leaders have to deal with. In the CI world, none of the choices are easy or cost-free. So we want to ensure that policymakers understand not only the action that they have to take, but the second and third order repercussions of those decisions. And Anita ensures that that occurs. I asked Anita what she enjoys most about this work in INR, and she says, well, certainly no 2 days are ever the same. And given the broad range of challenges she covers, that's certainly true. One thing that does stay the same is Anita's well-balanced advice to our senior-most decision makers, walking the fine line between achieving our nation's foreign policy goals and the counterintelligence risks some policy choices incur. Nobody walks that line better or with more skill than Anita Brown, and I believe that she may end up being one of those Baker recipients someday. We in INR are extremely proud of Anita and her work. We're so glad that the IC and INSA has chosen her and to be recognized this way, and she thanks INSA for the recognition and the support. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Annie, for stepping in. And I could tell those are really heartfelt remarks. I just want to make sure I get to meet Anita the next time I visit INR. So she sounds really outstanding. Now it is my privilege to welcome former Director of NSA, former Deputy Director of Central Intelligence, and retired Navy Admiral Bill Studeman to the stage to present the final award of the evening. Bill.
Same height almost, so we don't have to do much mic adjust. Well, let me say it's an honor for me to be here tonight. I always find coming to this event the most uplifting event of the year because I have a chance to see the people who are presenting the awards, but also the awardees. And 10 years worth of these awardees has really been eye-watering, and especially what they've gone on to do. I would also like to say to the honorees' families, thank you for coming. Thanks to the NRO for putting you in for this awards. The part of the families had to come a long way. And these awardees can't do anything without family, and I've certainly learned that over my long years in the intel community. I'm kind of looking around here to see if there's anybody here older than me tonight. Dick Kerr's not here, Senator Warner's not here, and I'm going to platform a little bit off of Secretary McCarthy's comments and do something maybe just a little bit unusual before I present this award. So let's orient you just a little bit. Up on the hill, just right outside this building, on the right, squeezed between the Kennedy Center and the old Naval Observatory, are the three buildings Ellen talked about, which were the headquarters of the Office of Strategic Services, OSS, where General Donovan ran the clandestine service operations of World War II, precursor of CIA. And his office is actually preserved up there. And it's interesting because there's an office, and then there's the secretary's office, and then there's this little closet complex in between. And so when people came in to see Donovan, they would go sit down and talk to Donovan, but his secretary would quietly go into the closet. And there's a little pinhole listening port in the wall of that part of the office, and a chair, and the secretary could sit down and take verbatim transcript of everything that occurred in there. So you can see that some things in Washington have not quite changed. I think the second thing you need to do in the way of orientation, because these are such complex, mind-numbing, crazy times, really, today in Washington. But think about this. This is 1943, 1944, 1942. World War II is on. What could be more mind-numbing than World War II? And look at the proximity of the geography. So there's OSS right there on the hill, okay? Right across the street on the mall where the Vietnam Memorial was is the wooden temporary buildings that the Department of the Navy was in, having come out of the State Department building across the street where the War Department was located. With the other parts of the War Department, Navy Department, and the old DOB next to the White House. So the White House is there and the Treasury is on the other side. And that's the panoply of probably the most powerful departments and agencies that existed in the government at that time for executing national security. So anyway, just a bit of a geography and history lesson so you know where you're sitting. Look at them as you go out. You'll actually be able to see. When they tore down the Navy Department, War Department, Navy Department building after the war, they said the rats scurried out of there by the thousands, and it was bulldozed in a day, so it was truly a temporary facility. Pentagon now, of course. Office of Naval Intelligence, however, is over at Suitland with its headquarters in the Pentagon. So my job tonight is to present the military award to Air Force Technical Sergeant William Haskell, NCO in charge of the global outreach at NRO's Mission Integration Office, our directorate. Technical Sergeant Haskell exemplifies service before self, truly, volunteering for 5 back-to-back deployments due to critical manning and the need for combat and systems training. In the past year, he's led many, many deployments, including Afghanistan, ensuring optimized overhead, that's our word for satellite, collection, integration with the combatant commands and the services. Technical Sergeant Haskell was recognized by the NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office, Director and the Air Force Director for Intelligence for leading forward deployed training to remote locations. He received government and U.S. Special Operations Command accolades for developing an innovative targeting system in less than 4 months. As the National Reconnaissance Office subject matter expert on this particular system, he trained 370 personnel on 18 National Reconnaissance Office systems and enabled geolocation and targeting of key Taliban targets, effectively securing 2 forward operating bases for more than 30 days. In addition, he organized the NRO's day at an NRO day at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base for the NRO Directorate and 4 directorates coordinating a 3-day event, technical briefs, and NRO system training for more than 600 people. A proven leader and innovator, Technical Sergeant Haskell embodies the whole airman concept and is eminently deserving of this award. So I'm extraordinarily proud and honored to present the 2020 Military Award to Technical Sergeant William Haskell.
Thank you, Admiral Stubman. It's an honor to receive this award in your namesake. For those of you who haven't read this man's bio, highly suggest it. He's essentially the Chuck Norris of the intelligence community. It's what thank you to INSA for recognizing me. I'm truly honored. And for throwing this event. It's very fancy for my enlisted taste. We're used to more combat dining-ins where we drink out of the grog bowl. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's literally a toilet. I'd also like to thank my family. My mother and my father are here from New York today. Thanks for driving down. It means a lot that you guys made it. It's obvious I'm the favorite child. My wife, Taylor, is also here. Thank you, sweetheart, for putting up with all the travel, being away from home, and carrying our firstborn child currently. And last but not least are the folks that I work with on a day-to-day basis. If I thanked everyone that I really should up here, we'd be here till 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm gonna save you the trouble so we can go eat some cake. I'm gonna have to narrow it down, but I'm truly blessed to work in an office that's filled with experts of experts. It's incredible. I could throw a rock and it'll hit 45 years of experience in SIGINT, 45 years of experience in overhead systems. And everybody there has been extremely helpful and willing to sit down with me, I'm not the brightest, if I'm honest, and dumb it down for me, which has been a blessing. But I would be remiss if I didn't thank two people that are here today that I have worked with over the past year and a half. And those two people are Master Sergeant Jackie Derringer and Miss Kim Sievers. Master Sergeant Derringer is my supervisor in the Air Force. She's an absolute rock star. There you are. You've been an invaluable resource as a mentor, and you've always given me a kick in the butt when I needed it. Sir, you talked about getting your PhD at 40. I just got my associate's degree and I'm like 30. And that would not have happened without Master Sergeant Derringer. Master Sergeant Derringer is unfortunately retiring this summer. Unfortunate for me, unfortunate for the Air Force. For any headhunters out here, she's right there. I have Venmo and Cash App if you want to pay me with your finder's fee. We'll talk after. Miss Sievers, Kim, you are one of, if not the most gifted leaders I have ever come across in my life. You take care of your people extremely well without sacrificing one bit of the mission. I'm truly grateful to have gotten to work for you. I don't know how I lucked out or what I did in my past life, but it's been great. So thank you so much. So I said I was going to keep this short. So this award, I think, reflects less on me and more on those people that I just mentioned, but I will gladly and humbly accept it. Let's go have some cake. Thank you.
So before we move on to the dessert reception, I just wanted to thank a few folks in the room. I want to thank the Honorable Ellen McCarthy for her keynote remarks this evening. I want to thank Tish Long for emceeing this evening's program. I also want to thank our sponsors who make it possible for us to be here today. And I'd also like to recognize the INSA team who puts in a lot of long hours and work to make these events happen. I also want to point out our INSA graduate student interns. If you're in the room, please stand up and raise your hand. All 6 of our grad school interns are graduating in May and seeking employment. So I hope they all get jobs with folks in the room, and then one day I can welcome them to the stage to accept an achievement award. I'd also like to thank our award recipients and their families for being here this evening. Thank you for sharing your career journeys with us, and I look forward to seeing all the amazing things you'll be doing in the future. As we exit the auditorium, I would like to ask Ellen, Tish, and our recipients to stick around for a few minutes for some photos. The ceremony is now adjourned. Please eat cake. Thank you for joining us.